Sam.
Ha, let's keep it above board. It's all right. This is all going to get edited out.
Yeah. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Oh, wow, there really is a delay. Okay, that's interesting. I've never done it that way round, because I always do it with you. Mad.
Yeah. Kind of crazy.
It's a crazy world we live in, Sam.
It really is. I mean, there's so much going on. Stranger Things got a new season and is ending next season.
Yeah, what
Castlevania is rebooting itself.
the
TV shows in general just can't decide on what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, Stranger Things was a bit of a kick in the teeth, because everyone was like, it's the final season, and then it's not the final season.
And then they pull the rug out and it's like, no, actually...
We should talk about Stranger Things at some
2023.
point, because I've got some opinions on that final season. Have you watched the most recent update? The last two?
The last two, yes, I did.
Yeah.
I watched them on the day of release, back to back.
Nice.
I've got opinions.
Good.
I think my
Okay.
opinions sound fairly positive. Maybe that could be our next
Maybe
foray into this.
I've also been watching Obi-Wan.
Oh,
I finally finished it.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
There is only one Kenobi. Only one Kenobi.
Yeah. Unless you count Alec McGuinness, but he's dead, so now there really is only one Obi-Wan Kenobi.
There is only one. Unless you count younger Ewan McGregor as a different Ewan McGregor.
Or any of the various voice actors that voiced him in the Clone Wars and other Disney adjacent shows.
Of course, those.
But I don't think that's what we're doing here today, is it, Will?
No.
We're looking at Disney Plus's
Ewan.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
We're discussing Ewan and his wonderful interpretation of what Star Wars should be. So I finished episode 6.
Nice.
I think we need to talk sort of overarching thoughts first. I watched episode 1 and then couldn't watch any more, and that's basically where I left it until I was like, no, I can stick with this. And you sort of mentioned that it gets a bit better, so I watched episode 1, turned off, and then went back and watched the rest. And I ended up leaving episode 6 having a good time.
Okay. All right.
I think.
Yeah.
Like,
You think? I'm in the same boat to a degree. That I watched all of it. I'm like, yeah, that's my Obi-Wan. That's the guy that I grew up with. And then I'm like, is that
it?
it?
There were some good moments. Have you watched any content reviewing it or any sort of discussion around it? Because I watched a bit to sort of get a feel for what people's thinking was, and there seems to be just a massive spread on the internet about like people who loved it, people who hated it, people who thought it was okay.
I checked out the woe is me. I checked out the Reddit threads in television and then in Star Wars to kind of get a feel for both sides.
Okay,
and
probably more accurate
general
than
what you checked out.
Yeah.
In general, the television side of things were way more negative. It was like even in the last episodes,
I could see
thread,
why.
It was just people complaining about plot holes and CG and like a lot more kind of the technical side of things seemed to be the focus of the
I'd
complaints.
expect that from TV. Like, they're not fanboys necessarily. There'll probably be some in there, but like generally the TV thread is going to be critiquing it as a show rather than as a as Star Wars. So that's interesting. And the Star Wars stuff was fairly positive.
It was weird. It was mixed. I would say it was mixed to positive. I think it was definitely way more on the liking it side than TV. But there were still people who were just doing it. Just get yourself in the zone. But I think the Star Wars fans were generally a lot more forgiving. This, like, I don't know. It felt that the Star Wars fans. It's weird seeing Star Wars fans with a positive opinion because I've not seen this in years.
Yeah.
Like, no Star Wars thing that's come out has had such positivity. Even
some of the stuff
it's not saying much.
Some go on. What are you going to say?
I mean, it's not saying much because they've been negative about Han Solo or about Rise of Skywalker and Boba Fett. It's all been very kind of mixed, with the real positives coming from Mandalorian and the offshoots. The really,
what was
like,
Rogue
obscure
One?
stuff.
Because like
I really liked
I
Rogue
loved Rogue One. I thought it was
think
great.
it's one of the best Star Wars things because it's not Jedi doing Jedi space magic stuff.
That's I haven't got a problem with that. I think I think given our era and the way we grow up, the prequels will always have a special place for that choreography and the Star Wars fight scenes. I do like that side of it. However, having said that, I feel like it does sometimes. I always watch that Star Wars stuff again. Not the prequels, but whenever they try and do lightsaber fights, I'm always a bit like, oh yeah. But I don't really get the same feeling as I did back then. And maybe that's just because I've grown up and I'm not like a wide-eyed kid with looking at sword fights, electronic super.
No, I definitely think that they've toned it back a bit. I think looking at lightsaber stuff, even here in Obi-Wan,
the
lightsaber stuff is very subdued compared to, say, and they throw back and they show Revenge of the Sith. That lightsaber fight on the lava is just incredible. It's kinetic.
Yeah.
They're jumping around all over the place. It's a goddamn lava planet.
Yeah.
It is. Say what you will about the rest of the prequels, they nailed the combat and they evolved the combat from the originals to there. But then I feel like the more modern stuff hasn't really done anything to elevate the lightsaber combat into a new form. I think the best stuff we get maybe is in The Last Jedi, in that final throne room scene. But people have picked that apart countless times for people swinging it, necking and whatever.
Yeah. I think I mean, it's a weak. It's weak anyway, but the one that just jumps out to me. Oh, I don't know. There's a few moments because you've got Kylo in his sort of arrogant slumber a lot of the time. That's sort of like his swaggy sort of overconfidence,
very heavy kind of.
Yeah. So the style,
his lightsaber is so cool.
Yeah, it is cool. But anyway, going back to this, talking about lightsaber fights and choreography and stuff, there were a few. Like, do we want to start with the big one? Do we want to start with the final episode, the fight between?
I think to contextualize it, I think we should start with episode. I think it's 3,
yeah,
where they meet on the mining planet.
Yeah,
and they have their first kind of fracas.
Obi-Wan and Vader demolishes him.
Yeah, Vader absolutely wipes the floor with him. But this lightsaber fight feels very heavy.
Yeah,
Obi-Wan feels out of shape. He feels like he's not at his prime.
Yeah, but he's not.
And I think it does exactly. But I think that the choreography does a good job of conveying that. Even though there's something off about it.
There's a really jarring scene when Vader first throws Obi-Wan, and the cut is really bizarre. I watched it a couple of times, and he throws him, and he sort of goes as if he's going down, and then it cuts, and he's like flying through the air horizontally, and it's like a really unnecessary cut. Like one or the other would have been great, but it's almost like they've cut two scenes together that were very clearly different scenes, and I don't know. I expect better from a Star Wars production. Especially
with that amount of Disney money behind it.
It's such a small detail, but I don't normally notice things like that. I'm usually just in the action and I lose myself in it. But to me, that just felt really weird that they kept that in. It would have been so easy to fix. They just needed one or the other, and it'd have been fine.
I think part of that comes down to the way in which Obi-Wan was filmed. A lot of the Star Wars content that we've been getting in terms of Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, it's not green screen.
No,
what they do is the big
Yeah.
HD cinema screens that surround a central platform.
Yeah, but aren't those cinema screens green?
No, because they actually, when the actors are on the stage,
are they blue?
Like it's playing the background in the background, like in the background.
That's cool.
But that limits what you can do. You're stuck on a very specifically sized soundstage, so you can't get those very continued shots of Obi-Wan being blasted across the room. And I think that issue with consistency in terms of the combat comes from they are having to film this in such a
is it that small though?
Space.
Like from what I've seen of snapshots, it's still like a big room. Like it's big enough to throw someone across it.
But also, you've got to think about how that's going to look. If you throw somebody across it using wires or whatever, you still can't have them hit the screen, or you can't have them go too close to it. Otherwise, the ratio and the scaling is messed up. So.
Well, then don't do it. Like if it's
right.
And then again, that was like
but
a dark.
It's cheap. Now that they've built it, it's cheap and easy to use, and that's why we'd have 2.5 seasons of The Mandalorian, with Boba Fett like kind of tagging in the end there.
Yeah. Okay, well, going back to that fight then, Obi-Wan ends up getting burnt to hell, which doesn't really seem to hinder him that much because he gets in a back to tank thing and is fine again.
Diaper tank.
Yeah. But that was harrowing. That was kind of gruesome. I liked that. I thought that was good from the show to sort of have Vader just demolish him and, for all intents and purposes, scar him for life. Just hold him in that fire, torturing him. And it's a throwback to when he himself was scarred and burnt. I think that was nicely done. The way
except for the ending,
except for when he escapes, right? Like,
good. I'm glad you agree.
Yeah, Vader could have just easily have just kept him there. Yeah.
This is the guy who's meant to have like the entirety of the Force at his beck and call, and he can't just stamp out a little bit of fire and recapture Obi-Wan.
He should have literally just been able to go like that, put the fire out,
part the sea.
Yeah, exactly.
We see him grab a ship that's about to like take off at light speed later on.
Yeah, but then
like it's nothing.
But then lets the other one go.
Yeah,
like he's just done it for that one.
Is it like a magic bar?
Yeah,
in a video
he's
game?
used his
only
magic.
got a certain amount of MP.
Yeah, but it's Vader. Like
but it's Vader. And again, maybe this is because I've been spoiled on Legends content and the old video games. I don't know. Did you ever play Force Unleashed?
I don't think so. No.
Basically, in that, you've got this apprentice to Vader called Starkiller.
Right.
And one of the Imperial ships, the Star Destroyers, is about to crash into where he is.
Yeah.
And the dude's like, okay, Lord Vader taught me how to do this. And he just grabs the Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
And then throws it back into space. And
wow.
I'm like, if that's what this random lackey can do, where is... And I thought this was going to be the series where we got to finally see the main characters pull out some ultimate Force ninjutsu and some ultimate techniques. Yeah. But we see bits of it, but maybe live action's too tough. I don't know.
No, I think there was some really good choreography in stages. Like I genuinely liked the fight with the subordinate. What's her name? Sister 3 or whatever she's called.
The third sister.
Third sister, yeah. I thought that was a really cool way that Vader doesn't even use a saber for like the fight, and he's just
hand-to-handed.
Just using the Force, and it's like, I'm just better than you. Like, just stop. You're just embarrassing yourself. And she's just throwing saber shots everywhere, like left, right, and center. And yeah, I was really impressed by that. I think some of the camera angles.
That was one of the best moments of the season.
Yeah,
for me. Was Vader being able to block a lightsaber with his bare hand and then just throw it back.
Because that throws, that throws a lot into question with the rest of the series. Like, if that's possible, do you need
where was this before now?
Like,
also, she has probably the highest survival rate for being stabbed with a lightsaber in the entire canon.
How many times does she get stabbed?
At least twice, and that's too many for a lightsaber.
Yeah, it is. But going back to the Force thing, shouldn't that mean that every Jedi versus Sith fight ends in an impasse because you can just stop the saber? Like, both of you are just swinging and stopping. Swinging and stopping. You just use the Force. Stop it.
Have died. Your camera's frozen here.
Sam, come back to me.
I cannot hear you.
Sam, come back to me. Sam.
Hey.
That went swimmingly.
Excellent. Could you hear me at all? There?
No.
Okay. No, I couldn't hear you either.
Okay. So what? All right. So did you just say your
last thing was you going? I think you were about to talk about the third sister. I think the last thing you said was so basically.
Okay. Okay. Well. Okay. So what I was gonna say is that whole Force thing. If you can stop it, if you can stop a saber with the Force, surely every battle between a bad Jedi and a good Jedi should reach an impasse because they can just stop the saber. Stop the saber. Stop the saber.
I think it's a level of skill as well. It's that idea of
yes, but
we've never
but where's
seen
the skill
ever.
bar? Like, I mean, come on.
Midichlorians.
Yes, okay.
He's just got too many.
Anakin is the strongest Jedi in the world, except for Obi-Wan, who beats him. Like, where's the line? He's either the strongest or he's not. Like, this is the problem. Like,
that was such a good scene, though.
Was it?
When Obi-Wan sits there and he just like limit breaks the Force to get all those rocks.
I'm going to say one.
Disagree?
I'm going to say disagree. I'm going to say one thing to you. Avatar: Last Airbender, final fight.
Superior, I would say.
Same thing, I would say. Like, they're on this wasteland of a planet full of rocks and things that are completely... Like,
We've been on wastelands of planets back since the first few films. Like deserts are easy and cheap to film
But that doesn't make it good.
Just film in a desert.
Yeah, but that doesn't make it good.
Exactly.
Like, give us some interesting... Like, you've literally given Episode 3, like, the phenomenal... Lava planet, right? Yeah? Darth Maul, like the
with the big
beams and the zappy
balls.
things, yeah. Like some of the best fights happen in interesting locations, and they use the environment to do it. This again just feels like Tekken or Street Fighter. Like just give them a blank thing and let them go at it. Like I get it. It's a level playing field, but that's not what like Jedis are supposed to be. Intuitive and sort of using their environment, and they play for defense. So like but here it's just like let's just see them fight, and it's cool. The fighting itself is cool and choreographed well, but it's just a bland background. There's even a bit when Obi-Wan is trapped under a load of rock, just like in Avatar, when the Avatar is trapped under his rock, and then he bursts out and becomes even stronger. And I don't know, it's just a blank background which I don't like. I just think
it's not visually interesting, and there's any number of technical reasons why. Like if you do CGI, it's better to do it in the dark because then you don't see all the imperfections.
Yeah, but I feel like we're at a standard
we should
now.
Be at a point. But well, I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but Disney do not pay VFX artists very well. In fact, they are some of the worst in the business. There's been a whole set of Reddit threads recently where artists who've worked on Marvel films and even Star Wars films have been coming out saying, yeah, they asked for about 3 or 4 different like versions of the same scene, which in any other client we would only be able to produce one and do some minor revisions.
Okay, fine. They're not very good at it. It doesn't mean I enjoy it any better. Like it's still poor quality.
That's something that we should be criticizing. We should be criticizing and petitioning Disney to be like, hey, pay your VFX teams better, or better yet, take longer on it if you want it to look good. And then maybe we can do some more creative stuff. But they're so focused on going, okay, the brand name of Obi-Wan will carry this series and get us more subscribers. So we'll just do the laziest, most baseline thing that we can do to just.
So what do we think to the narrative then? What do we think to the story? By the way, we should have started this episode with "Hello there." We didn't, but anyway.
Hello there. Cut back in editing, Will.
What did you think to the narrative?
Yeah, fine.
How many times is Leia going to run away and get kidnapped?
I think
she runs away.
I don't think it needed to be Leia. I think it should have been anything else. I really didn't like the child actress who played her. I thought that she was really
harsh. I hated the little 7-year-old that got.
I'm just saying, maybe brush up her skills a bit. Maybe cast older. Like it doesn't have to be that young. How old was Luke in the first one?
In the first one, what, first ever Star Wars?
Yeah. In
New Hope. No idea.
How was he meant to be? Like 20? Like, he looks like 20.
Yes. I would have said probably 17, 18, something like that.
So yeah, you can still like age up. You could do it a few years before him or whatever.
Well, I mean, you could have had a teen rather than like an 8 or 9 year old.
Yeah, and I didn't buy her being all this like kind of all-knowing, smarmy 10-year-old.
Yeah,
like, I've met 10-year-olds and they do not give that amount of sass to people
I think
after their lives are in threat.
Big question of the fact that like she seemed to be just wiser than everyone involved, and there's a lot. You see it a lot where, you know, this whole story is Obi-Wan trying to find himself again and try to find the Force, and I think they did that, and you need a catalyst for that, and Leia is that catalyst. She's the person that is going to trigger that in Obi-Wan, give him something to fight for, make him realize the error of his ways. But her like you say, all-knowingness, that sort of, she's not afraid of anything, she's not scared of anything, she's always, she can fix things, she can hotwire stuff, she's greater than thou person. I think a lot of it's done in sort of homage and tribute to,
yeah, definitely,
to the character,
but also it almost damages the character that we did get, because where was any of this mentioned anywhere else? And I know that it's tricky to do that, especially when it's a film that's pushing almost 40 years old now.
Yeah.
But to have this big adventure when Leia was 10 and then it's just never brought up again, or even referenced or whatever, it's just, I don't know, it felt like a retcon in the worst way. Just like, oh yeah, here's the secret adventure that Leia and Obi-Wan had during this like 10-year period.
Well, yeah, to a certain extent, but she does know of Obi-Wan. Like she trusts him.
Obi-Wan, come here, I need you. Like that's why she sends the message.
Yeah, but it's more than just that, isn't it? Like she says, to beat you over the head with it. She says, "You're my only hope," and to have that level of trust and to have that level of sort of, you will literally, I need you. No one else can do this. I need you.
Only you.
You need something big. You need something to have happened that has her put that level of faith in him. And I think for that, in that regard, I think this series does that. It gives her that reason why she would go to him above anybody else.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like, she does need something there, because I've always thought, like, okay, how does she even know Obi-Wan? Like, yeah, you were friends with my father, but like, did you ever see, like, my father trusted you?
Was there anything else there?
This is 20 years on. You don't even know if Obi-Wan's even alive. You don't know if like he's still fighting. If how he turned out. You've never seen him in action. So yeah, I think there needed to be that connection there, and I think that was good. But yeah, I think it was a bit weird. Like,
just cast better next time.
Potentially, but also like it's narrative. Like I saw someone describe it as like Power Rangers fight scenes or Power Rangers chases when she's running through the forest and you've got the guards like tripping up and stuff, and it's like, really, like this little girl.
Dude, the guy ran into like a branch and then just didn't turn up for the rest of the scene. It was just so. There were some moments that were just so bizarre in their choices of why it was still included. Like, why not just reshoot or try another take?
Yeah. I didn't like that she kept escaping. It seemed to be like Obi-Wan just trying to get to Leia all the time, and that dragged a lot. The first episode itself
I would have liked a better driver. Yeah, just him repeating working on the...
Also,
I don't know, the whale thing.
He's a thief. He's stealing food from his employer. Like, the employer's not a nice guy.
To feed his horse.
Yeah. I mean, the employer's not a nice guy.
Also, he's doing it in broad daylight.
Yeah.
And nobody notices or questions him.
No. I genuinely... using the Force. I genuinely thought that would come back somehow. Like, someone would catch him, right? Or, like, it's just nothing. You just see him steal stuff. Okay.
It's just like, Obi-Wan is morally ambiguous. There you go. That's it. I've taught you something.
Yeah. All right. So that first episode.
so
yeah, go on.
So what did you think of the Inquisition? So that's the third sister, the head Inquisitor, and their lackeys. As antagonists, what did you think to them? Because obviously the big beef is with Vader, but these guys are you can't use Vader every episode, otherwise his impact
that's a whole
gets
that's a whole his impact does get diminished, but also Hayden Christensen, his role in everything wasted. Arguably,
it was really nice. It was really nice seeing that training sequence with the two of them, and I think that
doesn't he look old
clash, though? He did.
Like, couldn't they have de-aged him?
They could have.
Like, they didn't.
Again, they've just got to get it out the door, mate.
But they've de-aged. Star Wars is notorious for de-aging people, and they don't do it with
bringing people back from the dead.
And bringing people back from the dead. And here they don't choose to do it. I'm like, he looks about 50. There's no way like that's realistic. He's not still a Padawan at 50. Like, he's burnt to a crisp by that point.
Like, isn't that why he was so pissed off? Because he was hitting like 20 years old and he was still Padawan to Obi-Wan. Yeah. Isn't that how Darth Sidious got into his brain?
Yeah. Yeah, you should have graduated ages ago. You've been held back 7 years.
You suck. Hey, let me teach you how to bring people back from the dead. It's totally legit, I swear.
You just use a bit of CGI. It's great. Looks a bit weird, but it's fine. Yeah, so I thought the fight scene was weird because he didn't look young enough, and I don't think it had been too tricky to do considering they do it all the time. Apart from that, he was a bit underused, I think. But you don't want to overuse Vader. Yeah, he was. Yeah, they did a whole.
He was everywhere.
They did one of those. If you watch those where they had Ewan McGregor and Hayden in with the glass of water that they slide from side to side to say whether they strongly agree or disagree. It's this interview thing. I've seen it with a few people. I've seen it with Chris Hemsworth and people where basically they sit at a table. They've got two people opposite cast from the same film, and they have a glass of water each, and on the table it says agree, strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree, and they slide the cup, and they basically ask them questions, and they're pretty basic questions. But the way they were talking, it was why
a cup of water?
Because promoting healthy.
Does it spill?
No, it doesn't spill. You just slide it. It's like then they can drink it if they want.
Just use like a ball.
But yeah, but you can't drink a ball, Sam. That would be weird. It's a glass of water.
Unnecessary use of like.
It's not the point.
Like a gimmick.
No, it's not like what's the radio one?
To like splash them if they got like a percentage wrong or something.
There's a Radio 1 question, the laughing one where they hold their mouth full of water. And
I
can't remember what it's called. Anyway, not the point. The point is that the way they were talking to each other, they were like, "Oh, it's so great to work with him again. It was so great." He was
one scene.
He was so intimidating as Vader. I got chills, and it was just like old times to be. And I'm like, okay, so he must be in it quite a bit, and arguably he is in the suit. Like I know he has a few doubles, but there'll be times when he is in the suit and he is doing the whole thing. Yeah, I don't know. It didn't really feel enough. But you just said you don't want to overuse Vader.
You don't want to overuse Vader, and I do think that the few times that he does get used are very effective. Yeah, because we see that moment where he comes down onto the planet and he is just snapping necks and dragging people across, and Obi-Wan is frightened. He's like, I don't think I can engage with him. Like, it's too much. And like this mother just goes, no. It's like,
oh yeah. See the brutalness.
And I think that is when Vader is at his most intimidating, and that's when he's at his best. Like, you think the end of Rogue One, where he just annihilates that ship of resistance fighters, and he's throwing people into the ceiling and then slowly stabbing them, and he's just like hacking people in half. The village scene gave you a glimpse of that, but then every other time, and I guess the fight with the third sister also gave a glimpse of his potential. There was a moment when he pulls out like both lightsabers, and I think, yes, dual wielding Darth Vader, let's go. And then he just doesn't. I was like, But I think the key moment for Hayden and for Darth in this entire series comes in that last episode, and that was what most people online were talking
about. What, the flashback or the fight?
Could all agree. Not the flashback. It was the moment where Obi-Wan lands the hit and cuts the mask.
Yeah.
And it's that voice change between James Earl Jones, who's still doing the voice, which is incredible, and Hayden. And he's saying, Anakin is dead, I am Darth Vader. I think that is universally agreed to be the best moment of this series, I would say.
Fair.
What did you think of that?
Yeah, the voice was haunting. It was the way it changed. It was almost, there's always been a bit of a disconnect between Vader and Anakin and that transition. And because it's James Earl Jones doing the voice, you've never really, I personally have never really bought into, in my head and in canon, that it's the same person. It's been really hard to sort of make that connection between the two, and to say that Anakin is the same person. And then that is that transition, and you see that the flicker and the switch, and I think it is a really
so good.
It's really well done. It's a nice touch, and it's symbolic. It's visual. It's on the nose, because it's like, this is the turning point. You can literally see him changing.
He's like, Anakin is dead, and you see the light almost vanish from his eyes. I'm like, oh.
Then my friend is truly dead.
And yet he still lets him live.
I know. Right. Okay. Yeah. This is right. It's so easy to fix. You have the ship come down and interrupt him before Obi-Wan gets a chance to finish the job. Like, something should happen that scares Obi-Wan off, because we know Darth has to survive. But, like, it's mind-boggling that after all Obi-Wan said, and knowing that this man is going to go on to kill millions of people, you let him walk. Just to save your own little soul, just because you don't want to be
He has him dead to rights at that end point.
Yeah.
And it's like a repeat of... And I understand the lava planet. I get it. Like,
yeah,
because you're very much attached.
Yeah, and he's still Anakin. You still think you can save him. And also, who gets out of that, really? You've got no arms, you've got no legs, and you're a potato on the side of a lava planet. Like, you ain't getting anywhere. So
very unlikely that you're going to brute force your way through. And yet...
Yeah. And then, obviously, he gets saved. But... So, yeah, very different circumstances. Here, you've accepted it. He's Darth Vader. Finish the job. Like, you didn't have a problem murdering stormtroopers in the dark.
Exactly.
Very cool scene. I liked that. I liked him popping up in the shadows, sabering.
So good.
Sabering the stormtroopers around Leia.
A lot of people I've seen didn't like the prison escape episode, but I thought that was good. I really liked it.
Yeah.
Like, even like all the build up and the tension of, is this old guy going to be able to do what he needs to do, to that moment where he's holding
the glass,
the entire weight of the ocean, and then
drowning a load of people,
kills a bunch of guys. But he won't kill his old... It's so bizarre to me that he won't kill the one person that he acknowledges is the biggest threat to society.
Yeah. And he's supposed to have reached... He's supposed to have reached that point, though, and people will say, but it's his friend. No, he's reached that point now. He's accepted it's not. He's said it's
He'd
Darth.
accepted it.
He's called him Darth.
He accepted it on the... Yeah, and that as well, calling him Darth. I think either he should have gone for something and then one of the Inquisitors should have turned up and saved Darth.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, literally anything. He's exhausted and...
He passes out.
The cliff gives way and he passes out, and then Darth is trying to kill him but gets pulled away. I don't know. There's so many ways you can write that feels better narratively. Sure, you don't want Obi-Wan to kill somebody because it's Obi-Wan. Or ignoring the fact that he's killed the count. He crushed General Grievous's chest cavity.
Yeah.
He shot him in his fleshy heart and then crushed his rib cage. This man does not care about not killing people.
No, he doesn't. And it's war at the end of the day, and you've got arguably the biggest bad ever right in front of you. You do the job. You're in a war. You're either in a war or you're not. Like,
yeah,
it's just trying to play this middle ground. Speaking of which, a better way to use Liam Neeson. Bring him in now. He's the one. God. He's the one that stops Obi-Wan. He's the one that comes in and says, "No, this isn't supposed to end here. This isn't supposed to be your fight.
You should be a grey Jedi like I was.
Yeah, exactly.
I fanboy over being a grey. That was such a wasted cameo.
Yeah, it was a wasted cameo. But like, you think about him coming in there, having maybe he even doesn't convince Obi-Wan because a lot of people, because arguably he's wrong. Vader needs to die. Vader needs to die. And if Qui-Gon comes in and is like, "Is this really what you want to do? You want to lose yourself because you're giving into hatred now?" And Obi-Wan's like, "No, I'm not. I'm doing what's necessary," or whatever he wants to spout back at Qui-Gon. And then by the time Qui-Gon fades away, Anakin's gone. Vader's gone. He's escaped, and it's like, oh, damn, I missed my chance. There you go. You've tied it up. You've had a nice cameo because Qui-Gon's come back to sort of see what has happened to his prodigy, which is Obi-Wan, and the chosen one, which is Luke, not Luke, Anakin.
And he's like, "Oh crap, it's a mess."
He just tiptoes out of there, just creeps out.
He's just like, "Oh, actually, maybe
just." What's that? What's that? Yoda? Yeah.
Yoda,
got a thing. Yeah,
got to go help the Mandalorian. You know, like he's got like some Darksaber stuff going on. Like that's pretty important.
Yeah,
you guys have got this. Yeah. I trust your judgment. Obi-Wan's like, what? Vader got away.
Leia uses the Force to block the mind control.
Yeah, but
she shouldn't be able to because she doesn't know she's a Jedi.
There's so much that's just like I like all the Resistance stuff. Yeah, like I felt it.
Did you like?
It was nice to see
the con artist.
Oh, he was okay. I didn't like that he managed to survive against a third sister.
Well, I think she just let him. I don't think it was like anything on his part. It was more by luck.
But that speaks to the writing in the show. Like she's been shown to chop off people's hands.
Yeah, in like a blink of an eye.
She lets this one con artist go. I don't care.
Well, it's because
this is all to kind of get revenge on Vader.
Nah,
she should still.
No. He survives because he's a big named actor. Like that's why he survives, and she knows that.
And we want to bring him back in the next season.
Yeah, I liked his portrayal. I like him as an actor. He's good.
Yeah, he's great. I think the acting in general was pretty good, barring Leia. I think Ewan McGregor just nailed it in every scene. If there's something that carries the series, it's his performance because he's always been great as Obi-Wan. And
yeah, well, that's what they were hoping.
Nice
that's
to
what they're
get
hoping
to see
for.
him again.
Like I liked the final chase scene when the ship is chasing down the little smuggler's ship, and they're doing the whole fly through space, and it's like, oh, we're going to run out of fuel again. That was so dry. Like that was so. Yeah. And there was a literal bit where the guy running the crew said, Obi-Wan. He said, "We're not going to make it. We're not going to make it." And Obi-Wan's like, "Okay, I'll go distract him. It needs to be me. I'm going to go distract him." And in the next sentence, he's like, "You don't have to do this. We can make it. You don't have to go." And Obi-Wan's like,
"Probably get out."
Well, what? And it's like, "Oh no, it turns out we're going to be fine. Like you don't have to do this." It's like, "No, I'm still gonna go fight Vader on this planet." It's just clunky.
And then Vader
dialogue.
just agrees.
Yeah, and then they don't send anyone. I did watch a video, so this isn't my idea, but someone did point out, like, where are all the TIE fighters? Where are all the ships? Like, they're just shooting.
It should be on the Starfighter.
Lasers.
Why are they not just nuking Obi-Wan's ship?
Yeah.
Because I get, like, it's a vanity thing for Vader, but also, once Vader's been, like, sliced up, Obi-Wan then manages to, like, teleport from that place to where Leia is in no time. Like, how does travel work in this universe?
Yeah, but also Vader is they literally talk about Vader as if, you know, he's it's very true about Anakin's character. He's impulsive, he doesn't have any patience, he goes in head first. So when they reach the rebel base, I'm calling it the rebel base even though it's like not technically a rebel.
It was a base with rebels in it.
Exactly.
That's fair.
Why didn't they go through the big opening in the top and just wreak havoc? Like, they've got ships that fire that with almost with planet destroying powers almost, at this stage. I can't remember. I don't know where they are in their scheme.
Roughly.
But
at
very
the very least, they can destroy a mountain.
Yeah, or even at the very least, shoot into a hole and kill an auditorium-sized place filled with people. Like, just shoot in there, blow everyone up, everyone's dead. No, Vader, the impulsive character, let's trap them in there. Let's hijack this little robot and close the hatch so they can't get out and we can't get in, and we'll play the waiting game. That sounds like a Vader strategy, doesn't it?
Just bombard them from space. I think that the Empire has a severe case of lions led by donkeys, and they've got the most incompetent leaders who don't think in 3D.
Yeah.
Because if you just turned up there and like, okay, they're here. So if we just bombard them for like the next, we could 24 hours, and then just drop down and see what happens.
Even if you want Obi-Wan alive, their ships are right there. There's 2 ships. Just blow up the ships. Just blow up the ships.
Just drop in. Just storm the place.
Like then you have Vader at the top of the crater, the top of the hole, and he's just standing on the edge, and he looks down at Obi-Wan and he goes, I have the high ground now. And like he's
I was waiting for that. The entire series I was waiting. And there's a moment when he's got like Obi-Wan dead to rights in the crater, and he's like, and he doesn't say it, and I was like, you missed it. Yeah. And then they have the audacity to end the series with him going, hello there. I'm like,
okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It did make me smile. I did grin at that.
Yeah, it made me smile. I was like, then the more that I think about it, the angrier I get.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm angry at myself for smiling. Like, I don't... I'm very mad at myself for giving into that, but I did it, and I was just like, yeah, he said the thing.
It was good,
He did the thing.
He said the thing. No death sticks, though.
No death sticks. Also, does the third sister deserve a redemption in the slightest?
Probably not. I mean, she chopped off a bunch of innocent people's hands.
Like, she hung a guy in the middle of the square.
She did, in fact, do that.
She's killed multiple people. There's no doubt in my mind she's killed hundreds of people. Probably younglings as well. Like, there's younglings that are murdered in those tanks.
And stored in the tanks. That was a thing that was really glossed over.
Can we bring them back? Are they, like, cryogenic? So, like, we can just sort of... Because I thought they were, like...
we're more Jurassic Parky Amber situation. I think it's like, here's what I killed.
That's where they get the midichlorians from. They just pull out the serum.
They just pumped it into Anakin.
Yeah, he's just constantly being pumped with more midichlorians. I now have many midichlorians.
They are the powerhouse of the Jedi.
Yeah.
So what do you think overall then? If you were to kind of summarize Obi-Wan in a score format.
I actually agree with the overall narrative. I like the Leia story because I think it fills in gaps that I've always had questions about. I didn't like how they did it. I didn't think it needed 6 episodes. It could have been a lot shorter, and it did feel to drag at points when, like I say, Leia kept escaping, and they had to chase and grab her, and she got caught like at least twice, maybe even a third time. It felt like more, but I think it was only twice. But she got caught by the First Order. It's not the First Order, whatever they are.
She got kidnapped the first time and taken to the drug place, and then she escaped the drug place, and then she got kidnapped again to the Inquisitors, and then she got kidnapped. Was it a third time when she was 1-to-1 with a third sister, or was that part of the?
I think that was part of the Inquisitors kidnapping. But even so, it's one too many times. And the stakes weren't really high. Talking about the escape of the place where they escaped from. Is it Tala or Tala?
The rebel assistant.
Yeah. I really liked her role in that escape. I genuinely felt fear and trepidation for that character as she was
when she's like bluffing her way through
infiltrating.
Stuff. So good.
And then like she has to go and murder a guard. She just goes and kills this guy.
She just snaps that dude's neck.
Just absolutely. Like, and then he just goes back and sits back down. Like, she is doing the job that needs to be done in that situation. And then very Rogue One-esque sacrifices herself and just kills herself to take down a load of the Empire and whatever it is. The amount of names for the Order and the different the Inquisitors and just the bad guys.
The New Order of the Empire, the Empire, the Trade Federation.
At this point, like Vader works for them all. Like Vader is synonymous throughout all of them. He has some role or impact. Even when he's dead, he's like my Kylo is like paying a homage to him. He's in charge, and it's like. At this point, it's just rebranding, isn't it? Like, it's always been rebranding.
It absolutely is. It's been rebranding since the Clone Wars. Like, even the clones from episode 2
to be fair,
are just...
Yeah, that is the whole premise, isn't it? That
it just changes its name.
Yeah, and
it's a different regime. It'll be better next time.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay.
But it's just the same guys. Hey, maybe you should rise up against those people who are putting you down. Maybe if you've got a political system that you don't agree with, maybe the only solution is to rebel and try and make things better.
Yeah.
Hey, real world.
Anyway,
Obi-Wan out of 10. What are you giving it?
Out of 10, 5.
Ooh, like dead middle of the road.
Dead middle of the road. What about you?
That's fair. I'm going to be slightly more positive. I'm going to say a 6, just because I think I got more out of it than I was disappointed by it. So I think the scale's kind of tipped. I don't think it was... I had more fun with each episode than I thought I was going to.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's good, but I would say that it's a fun watch if you really like Star Wars. And unfortunately, I'm not a massive Star Wars fan, so this didn't do it for me. But, it was fine.
Yeah. I mean, the cameos were rubbish.
Awful.
The little ship that Obi-Wan gave Luke, that's fine. I think it's nice that ship in New Hope came from Obi-Wan. It's a nice little
callback.
Yeah.
But then it falls into Han Solo's blaster territory. I don't need to know where and like Leia's holster. I don't need to know where her holster came from.
No, like,
and I don't need
this
deep backstory behind it.
Surely that wears away over the next 15 years. Like, it's not going to be a usable piece of... Like, she's part of, like, aristocracy. They can afford a new bloody holster. Like, there's no reason why that needs to be the same holster.
Ever since Solo, is that everything is just a reference and a callback to something else. Like, I don't need to know where he got his blaster, his jacket, his whatever. I don't need to know where the holster comes from. I don't need to know where Luke's toy comes from.
Yeah.
I don't need an emotional connection to every prop that is in these films. Just tell a good story. I'm begging you. Rogue One managed it. Please do that for the main franchise. I changed my mind. It's a 4.
It's a 4. It's a 4. God, that was a quick
The holster alone has peeved me off.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's Obi-Wan Kenobi. I will probably watch Andor at some point, but I'm not excited for it in the slightest.
I'm just hoping that some of the talent involved with Rogue One is going to be there. If so, maybe it will be good.
Also, Rogue One is a movie, and these are series.
I think if this was a movie, it would be so much more focused.
Yeah.
You could
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's that.